Do a mic check real quick. Just do a mic check.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. All right, you all. As we know, when you're going live, sometimes we always have a little technical difficulties. But we're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. And you are again tuning into the 3rd annual African American Male Wellness Symposium. And I am your host, Dr. LaCleisha Izzard. So we just had a break. So we're grateful to the Almighty God that we had some technical issues going into our break. But we are back now and we are ready to jump and dive back into this great symposium that we are having today. So next in line and next up, you have a special treat that is to await you that is coming up. We have a spoken word artist. So Mr. Mario, he's going to come up and he's going to bless us with some inspiration through spoken word and poetry. And I want you to just sit back and take a pause and relax and take it in. And he'll let you know if he wants you to close your eyes and all of that good stuff. But we understand that even with our African American males, they are diverse as it relates to their gifts, as it relates to their talents. And I want to make sure to display and to show as much of that as possible in this symposium today. So Mr. Mario, he's not just, of course, a spoken word artist or a poet. He's also an author, and he's also doing great things within our community. And we are grateful to have him today. Mr. Mario, come on up here. Enlighten.
I would like to say, run, black boy. Run, black boy, straight to your dreams. Run, beautiful black boy, straight into your self-esteem. Run, beautiful black boy, away from their fear. Oh, you ain't know? They only want to see you run in an arena if they put you there. I like to say, run, black boy. Run, black boy, it's the cops. Run, black boy, they think you slang rocks. Run, black boy, it's the neighborhood watch. Run, black boy, as far as you can from that block. Run, black boy, trap. Run, black boy, Zans. Run, black boy, crack. Run, black boy, as fast as you can. I see an innocent black boy. Why do they always see a dangerous black? I like to say, run, black man. Run, black boy, you black. Run, black boy, and never look back. For 400 years, guilt has been targeted on your back. So no matter the reason you run, there has been a gun pointed at you. I want you to run, black boy, away from all of these facts. I said, run, black boy. But because I love you, I say things like, please stay still. Make no sudden movements. Try to remain polite to them in spite of their rudeness. Don't give them any more provocation. I just want you to run, black boy, until we again run this nation. Thank you very much. I chose that as an introduction to introduce you to the type of trauma that these young black boys deal with on a daily basis. There's no days off. There's no timeouts. There's no vacation from it. Not in this country. Fear doesn't live here. We all been exposed to that greatly. I am a child of New York City. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York, and I had to deal with that every single day. And then I joined the Air Force, and I was in the intel community, which is 3% minority. So you can imagine the type of prejudices I was introduced to there. This is pre-9/11 to post-9/11, so I got to see firsthand an array of different biases that were projected upon me. Then I became a father to this beautiful young black boy. And I'm constantly berated with images and stories of what happens to other young black boys in America. And I think it's very important that as I received a tool set from my father, I now update that tool set to give to my son to ensure that the tool set he receives is now fit for the type of issues he's gonna face. It's not just a hammer and a screwdriver no more. Now it's a keyboard and understanding NFTs and Web 3.0. Having the emotional intelligence to address the issues and traumas that he's dealing with now, so that way he doesn't have to be like dad, wrestling with PTSD and currently in therapy for the last 3 years. So in that, I'm not a doctor, but I am very familiar with therapy from the recipient standpoint. So I'm going to share with you another poem that speaks directly to that journey. Is that okay with you guys? Yes. All right. Now this is me letting go of my childhood hurt. And this is that very same pain bouncing back into my life like a yo-yo, a boomerang, a dog playing fetch, and a dog that is still trying to perfect his childhood rep. The regret when you speak to your therapist and you know that you failed to apply her recommended steps. Your default is defense. Once you observe a glimpse of behavior that you vowed to prevent, but you know you can't let nothing slip. Why? Because I'm a man. And I know if I let some of that slide, that drip becomes drenched, and I'd rather keep it all bone dry. The walls you built are dense, deep, tall, and wide. Now who are you mad at, God? Devilish games played in the garden of the wise cause the untamed flames of rage to suffocate the flowers in your life. This is what trying to master your childhood complex looks like. But how do you uninstall a code that's been written so deeply into your soul? The hard work is internal and is protected by the mold, the vulnerabilities that you never showed, those secrets that you never spoke. This courage now is built on fears of old due to emotions I still don't know how to emote. And ultimately, the walls you built for your protection become a coffin for your lessons. The past is meant to provide you with perspective, my brothers, not direction. Wishing upon a star for too long will have you sitting behind bars, a prisoner of your own perspective, robbing you of the gifts of the present and those that love you most of your presence. But I know you can't let go, so just hold. Breathe. Be still. I want you to find your peace. You are your beliefs. The past is nothing but a bedrock, a foundation of you you are not meant to defeat. It's nothing but a doormat for you to wipe your feet. See, obsession is a disease. Acceptance is the only vaccine. Now this is me letting go of childish things as I become the man I know God has me destined to be. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I want to thank you, Dr. Izzet, for inviting me out, and I just want to let everybody know I have a book called A Son with No Father is a Book with No Author. It's more than a coffee table book. It's a true resource. It's partnered with a workbook and a workshop that I myself host throughout the communities. and it brings fathers and sons together, and it helps bridge those gaps in communication using my book as a sounding board. We have a nonprofit organization, so if you would like to reach out, please do, and I will be happy to come to whatever community you are in and administer. Thank you very much.
Do you have a website? Share your website.
I do. It's Manifest Destiny NPO.com. We just got approved last month, so we've been doing a lot of work real fast to get into these communities. We've been doing the work for years, but now we get to be sanctioned. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Wasn't that beautiful? Woo! Showcasing our African American male talent. Our homegrown talent, as I like to say. I learned that on the campaign trail. Because we want to keep our homegrown talent in our homes, in our home counties, in our home cities. And so Dr. Mason knows what I'm talking about when it comes to that as it relates to economic development and infrastructure. As we move forward with this amazing symposium, now that we've had our spoken word of inspiration, now we're going to bring up the good bishop to give us a inspirational voice of encouragement. So let me share with you who this good bishop is. His name is Mr. Antonio Johnson, fondly known as Bishop Johnson. For the World Church Ministries. Mr. Johnson served in the United States military for 17 and a half years. 12 years active and 5.5 Army National Guard until he was medically discharged. During Mr. Johnson's time in the military, he specialized in infantry and was deployed multiple times to serve our country in combat. Mr. Johnson is a disabled United States veteran in mental health recovery. And while on that journey, God, of course, touched his soul, touched his spirit, touched his heart. And also a great therapist who I won't name helped to give him a little kick. And that's why he's now Bishop Antonio Johnson. He's going to speak to us today about faith power, inspiration, and faith-based mental health community support. Come on up here, Bishop Johnson.
Good afternoon. I am Bishop Antonio Johnson, the founder and senior pastor at God's Church Ministries, and also a faithful servant of Anointed Word Assembly. I give honor to my Lord and Savior first and foremost. I give honor to my apostle and my prophetess, Apostle Moulton and Prophetess Moulton. But most of all, I give honor to my friend, my sister. We went from being patient and counselor to being friend, brother and sister, and confidant. See, as a black man that grew up in the hood, we per se, I learned that, as you said earlier, that I had to run sometime because it was always constantly a gun that was pointed at me. Some of the things that as the faith-based community, we need to get away from the stereotype of a lot of times, yes, there's demons and witches, that's true. But a lot of times when we see our black people going through or having an episode, what we need to understand is that it might be something mentally challenging them. I can speak from experience because I am a product of my environment. That even growing up in metropolitan Atlanta, on the west side of Atlanta, in the ghetto, I had to do some things in order to survive because I was lacking that father that was not there. You can have someone to be, like Scripture say, how God fired old King Saul, but do you know you can be fired without even realizing you ain't been fired? I've witnessed this so many times where somebody has been fired and they didn't realize that they had got terminated. But see, I wasn't called here to preach, but I had to follow what the Holy Spirit told me. The scripture that I wanted to put a scripture today that was so profound in my healing, which is Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with the righteous hand. See. And the thing was, I was one of those patients that you could not come to me with the Sigmund Freud methods. But the thing is, I bless God for Dr. Izzy, because she came to me with Christianity. I'll say that. Christianity, with the love of a Christian heart, that we should outreach to our people. That's the problem. That's some of the problem now in church, is the fact that only thing we think about is the money. The fancy suit, the old beautiful garments, the holy garments that we wear at holy convocation or ordination service, but we fail to realize that we have a brother that's going through. It's not even just our brothers, because as a senior shepherd, I've had to deal with some things that I had to deal with. One of my young people, she had a mental breakdown. She was talking about committing suicide, and I had to talk to her and had to let her understand, besides being your cousin, and 2, being your shepherd, 3, I'm your friend, and here's this kicker, I've been through where you're going. and we want to talk about what we got to do. What we got to do in the faith-based community, we got to reduce the stigma. We got to reduce the myth and the legends about, every time you see them going through, yes, that's a demon on them, but that demon is what we call mental health. I remember so many years I was so ashamed to say, I got some issues. Look, here recently, I just got to the point where I can even admit that I got daddy issues. The other thing that we can do, we can increase the awareness in mental health. That there is an issue amongst our Afro-American males that goes deeper than what we want to see. It goes back to the roots and generational, well, we're speaking of generational curses, but the thing is, those generational curses are things that pass down through heredity and has not been dealt with the intercultural part of the family. Yes. Yes. See, we got to also, as leaders in this great thing called kingdom, we got to teach the people how to handle the mental illness diversity. That's right. See, back in the day, I remember back in the day that sometimes when you get there and start opening your mouth up, they wanted to say that you were crazy. But did they realize that the thing was that you might have been prophetic? You know, the crazy thing, since I left you, I got a mental health doctor, psychologist, but the thing is, she's asked me, the question is, and most of y'all relate to y'all mental health profession, do you hear voices? Yes, I hear voices. The voice that I hear is the voice of the Old High, that he tells me that I am who I am, and what I am, and what I can be. Yes. See, that's the thing that we don't want to tell our young black men, is that the fact, young brother, you can be wherever you want to be. You ain't just got to run up and down the basketball court, up down the football field in order to be a great black man. Oh, Jesus, Lord. Thank you, Lord. We just have to get more involved in our communities to make changes. Yes, I'm a 70 kids that were born in Atlanta, but here's the thing. most people say racism was dead, but racism is very much alive. It's the fact that we have let Satan took a rampant race and took over. And as faith-based, we have to stand up for what's right. We have to stand up for what's right. How much time I got, Dr. Izzy? Well, I'm finna move on out your way because I know everybody got something they want to do on this beautiful Saturday. Look, I got to get ready to preach tomorrow morning. Look, I might actually borrow this for tomorrow. I'm gonna listen. We all know laughter is medicine, right? And I thank God for me being a comedian. I'm not your typical pastor. You know, I don't look like it. I'm unique. I'm unique because my father is unique. I want to leave you with, speak some life into the black man. You may be criticized for how you look, talk, act, but the real war is against the message that you carry. Oh, yes, Lord. Your message is uniquely yours. It cannot be handed down or traded or copied or manufactured. It is birthed on your knees in your secret place, matured in the fires of adversity and released like fireworks in the darkness. Protect what you carry. Guard it with your life, because even though you may not always see its impact, time will reveal the power and the beauty you broadcast through your pages of life. Be blessed, my brothers.
Thank you, Bishop Johnson. Thank you, Bishop Johnson. Didn't I tell you you were in for a treat? Wasn't you inspired? I know I was. Thank you so very much. So we are going to have a brief award presentation. This award is, well, I'll just let Commissioner Mason tell you who the award is going to. Come on up here, Commissioner Dr. Mason.
Well, we want to take this opportunity this time to present or represent this amazing award to a wonderful person, a wonderful leader who is doing an outstanding job in our communities all across the state of Georgia. Her name is Dr. LaCleisha Izzard. Can y'all give it up for Dr. LaCleisha Izzard? Yes. She was actually appointed by the Newton County Board of Commissioners, which I happily serve as the District 2 County Commissioner since January of 2019, and she was served was appointed in November of 2021 to serve as the only Newton County member of the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities Region 3 for the Advisory Council. Dr. Izzard then made history by winning the historic One Newton Award that you see here in December of 2021 at our bicentennial celebration for her service to diverse communities across Newton County and the state of Georgia. And so we are so honored to call her one of our very own Newton County's leaders. And so we wanted to just represent this award to her on behalf of the Newton County Board of Commissioners. It says Newton County Bicentennial Award, 2 centuries. We were celebrating 200 years last year. This is the One Newton Award for Dr. LaCleisha Izzard. Congratulations.
All right, you all. Thank you all for that wonderful round of applause. I am grateful again to the service that I provide to the community, even more so in our diverse communities and even more so for our African American males. So I'm certainly grateful. Let's jump on back into this roll call of great speakers. We have a few more speakers that's going to come up and bless you all today, and I know that you are going to be fed well. Fed well. And I say that as an excellent segue into the next presenter on today, who is none other than Dr. Calvin Ellison. Dr. Ellison is an author, an entrepreneur, a naturopathic doctor, certified nutritional consultant, global wellness trailblazer, and marriage and men's advisor. He is the founder and the CEO of Success Dynamics Incorporated and Advantage Green, as well as the author and founder of the Men Magnifying Manhood, as well as co-author and founder of the Women Magnifying Womanhood. He is also the Vice President of Community Affairs for the Atlanta Black Chamber of Commerce, while pastoring for 20 years in the beautiful North Carolina, my home state. He was a constant presenter at community colleges, universities, and businesses on various topics, from health and wellness, community engagement, personal and professional growth. Dr. Ellison obtained his naturopathic degree from Trinity College of Natural Health. Dr. Ellison is also has a doctorate of ministry from Central Christian University. Come on up here, Dr. Ellison. He is going to share with us today on the topic of just do it. And he is going to speak to us about a protein plant-based diet, as well as exercises that are beneficial and effective for our African American men. We understand that if we do not take care of our physical health, it will affect our mental health. And whatever we do not address, it will literally come through us. So come on and give it to us today.
Thank you, Dr. Izzo. Let's give Dr. Izzo another big hand clap. All the way from the state of North Kakalaka. All right. It is my utmost pleasure to be here with you all again, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to share, bring words of greetings from my girlfriend of 40 years this November the 7th, November the 19th, 7:30 p.m. 1982. You know how the military folk remember your date, your time, and all that? Well, I remember mine as well when it comes down to marriage. When I do the marriage stuff, I tell guys one of the best ways to remember your wife's birthday or the anniversary. Anybody want to know what it is? One of the best ways to remember is to forget it one time. That's all you got to do. Just forget it one time. You don't have to worry about forgetting.
Don't do it around the family.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that by all means. But I'm here to magnify our number one wealth, which is our health. That's right. Now, I'm going to be mostly focusing on the physical side, but you can't just separate the physical from the mental and from the spiritual. That's right. All right? Now, I want to begin really by calling all men. I want to ask you a question, men. Where are you? Like God asked Adam, where are you? Because the game is going on. Now, I want to relate because I love football. And I won't tell you what my team is, so I won't offend any Atlanta Falcons. Well, you already know that I'm not a Falcon fan.
Go ahead and offend.
Go ahead and offend? Now, it's the bishop that's asking me to do that, brother. But I won't do it. So I'll be nice and polite, at least for a few minutes. But men, the game is going on. The game of life. The game of what is happening on the health front. Where are we? Where are you? Are you at home watching the game go on? Are you in the bleachers watching the game go on? Or let me ask you this one. Are you on the bench? Well, it doesn't matter where you are. You got to come down to the field. The days are long gone to where we put the weight on the women to lead the way in health matters. Long gone. I want to take us back to the original responsibility that was given to Adam, the man. God gave Adam the responsibility in the garden. We all as men, I'm talking to us as men, because we got to start there first. See, my appeal, as she gave me the topic, just do it, that is a call to responsibility. Do what? Do the responsibility of leading and modeling.
Come on.
So God gave Adam the responsibility, put him in the garden, and said, I want you to protect, now I'm going to break it down, your garden. The garden of, first of all, your health. So what are you doing about your physical health? Because how I take care of me is an indicator of how I will take care of my wife and family. What I do to me is what I model to them. So what I'm doing to them matters, what to myself matters about the outcome of them. And I'm a firm believer, because we are in the game, you don't have an option. You're in the game. By mere fact that you are here, we are all in the game. And we've got to go back and first of all, accept the responsibility and then follow through with some action. It's got to start there. And it's got to start with us. Because I believe before it was given to the doctor or the mental health professional, it was given to the man to protect and cultivate your garden. Now, of course, I'm talking about health. So now, if I don't cultivate the garden of my health to make sure I'm doing all that I can do to project a good model of health, then what is the rest of the people under my influence, what are their lives going to look like? Because let's face it, men, as well as women too, we represent government. We represent law. We represent standard. And as the brother talking to the one who did the spoken word, we got to get back to getting men on the field of play. Cut out the excuses. The game is going on. The game of life is going on. You cannot play effectively in a football game, basketball game, or baseball game, or any game when you're not healthy. And there's something in the military. The first thing they start working on is your health, physically and mentally. So my appeal is a call to us to responsibility, particularly with all the resources that have been made available by way of the fact that our King, the greatest man, said, all authority and power has been given unto me in heaven and on earth. Now we got to work that thing.
Come on, sir.
So if all the authority and the power has been given wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we just got to simply work it. There is no excuse why you can't do. Now this is Ellison version. Whatever your age is, you should be able to at least do that amount, unless your doctor said there's something physically wrong with you. You should be able to do at least that amount of push-ups. You 35 years of age and you can't do 35 push-ups at one time. Let me make it clear. Say they feel attacked. What? But you see, we gotta upgrade the standard. We gotta get back to the standard. Now, I hit over 60, this month. But I dare not do 60 push-ups at one time.
Come on.
And stop there at 60? No, I start out with 100. Usually 120. Because one of the things that my commander-in-chief said, you got to model it.
Come on now.
I called you to be the man. Step to the table, take the leadership role, and model the way to good health. One of the reasons why we got so much sickness and disease rampant in our world is because of the low standards that we as men have set. Let's make it clear. Everything rises and falls on the shoulders of leadership.
Right.
So since we've been put in the leadership role to model, let's model. The brother mentioned about the father issue. I know what that looks like, feels like. I came from that. But the mandate of the king was, you got to give away what you didn't have. And as you dare go out and give it away, I will bring mental stability in you. And physical health as well, if you'll follow my lead.
Right.
See, in that last Adam is all that we need to make it.
Right.
We got to go back and put a focus and get in that last Adam, get in his authority, get in his power, get in his knowledge, get in his wisdom, get in his strength. And if we will do that, he will empower us, I believe, where cancer will be less to none. Heart disease will be less to none. So we got to get Adam back on the field. Where are you, Adam? Are you home again? Are you watching the game of life and letting your wife go to battle? Letting her take the lead and get the hits on all these things that are going on? Are you letting your wife do all the shopping? My wife can't tell you the last time she went shopping. Why? Because I took it serious when he said, it's your responsibility. Right now, it's my response. If that house is dirty tonight when we get ready to go to sleep, it's not my wife's responsibility, it's mine. Now, I may have to have a conference with her. But bottom line, Daddy says that house is your responsibility. That garden was Adam's. I didn't leave that to Eve. I left that to Adam. Now, of course, you have to have your congressional meetings, make sure the responsibilities are shared, but still, bottom line, I got to take ownership. So I got to take ownership. What's coming in your house? Because what is coming in your house is going to get in this house, and it's going to affect my health outcome, mentally and physically. So what are we letting in? Is the pig dominating your house? Oh boy, I know I'm getting ready to get on some stuff right now. Are the fried foods dominating your house? All we got to do is look at what the statistics are showing about what excessive, particularly fried foods, do to the body. But many of us, I understand, you're right where I used to be at, in Egypt, in bondage to your taste buds. Oh my God, let me get off of that. I'm talking to us as men because the appeal is just do it. It is a call to action to step up to the plate or get in the game. You gotta learn. Well, I just don't have a passion for this health talk. You don't have a choice. If you're not fit, then the enemy is going to take the strong man out and take over the house. That's what's been going on. Come on. He's going to take it out. He's going to take over the house. Whether the enemy is sickness and disease or, the racism and all that stuff, like the brother said, this is a time to where the real men must step on the field of play and get ready to hit somebody when you put it in football terms. I played football. My position was running back. And I understood, you're either going to hit Well, you're going to get hit anyway. There's no such thing as you're going to play football and never get hit. But my point is, we got to step to the table of time and opportunity and get ready to play. Because he's not going to send you out there or send me out there to play ball and not equip me. So I'm equipped. I got to show up and be willing to be trained in the area of health and wellness, to be willing to be trained and get the counsel or whatever is needed so I can get back on the field and hit something. When I played football, I used to love to hit. Coach didn't have a problem with me hitting. And he would at times say, why don't you try to run around that guy that's a little bit taller and bigger than you instead of trying to run through him? Because I learned, unless you have a certain mentality, simple things will run you over. And I made up in my mind, Bishop, some years ago, I got tired of that donut running me over. And all those sodas dominating my life. I got tired of it. That's why I can do, I have an average of 200 a day. Well, I know, wait. I set the standard at 200. But I say you got to beat your standard because you always want to keep improving. So I say if your standard is 200, you must do 205 every day. Cut out the excuses. If you want to eat, you're going to exercise. You understand me, Calvin Ellison? That's how I talk to myself. See, some of y'all too easy on yourselves. If you want to eat, you're going to exercise because you understand one of the best medicines for the human body is movement. Don't tell me that the Father doesn't want it because he gave us the word go. Go into all the nations and make something happen. Oh my God. Brothers, I'm speaking to us brothers. Sisters are out of the picture. Because this is a call to us as brothers to step on the field of play. We must put a focus. We must put a focus on our health. Solomon said this right here. He said, I went by the field of the slothful man who wasn't paying attention to life. Let's break it down to his health, his mental health, his physical health. And he said that field was all grown over with thorns and nettles, and the stone wall had been broken down. He said, I looked at that guy and his situation and considered this right here. A little slumber, a little folding of the hands, just getting laxed, so you'll gain weight. So health problems will begin to escalate just by not focusing on it, not doing what you got to do, and like she gave me that topic, just do it. Just walk. Just drink that water. Just cut back on some of those unnecessaries. Oh my God. You see what I'm saying? And then one other scripture. We must be conscious of the conditions of things. Proverbs 27:23 says, be diligent. Diligent to know the state of your flocks and look well to your herds. Now, wait, go with me. We do that with our vehicle. Everybody, before you leave home, particularly you going on a long trip, you're looking at that gas needle. See how much gas I got in here. You're making sure that oil is intact, right? You're making sure that that water is in that car, because you know, if you don't know the state of how much gas you got in the tank, you know you ain't going far. You know you're going to be parked along the side of the road, embarrassed and all that kind of stuff because you didn't take the time to look at those meters. What about our bodies? What's your blood pressure like? When was the last time you checked your blood pressure, blood sugar? When was the last time you went into the service station and got a checkup called a physical? You know, we run from it. But I'm calling us, come on, brothers. Come out from home watching TV. Come out of the bleachers. Get off the bench. You and I need some time on the field playing the ball game. In many areas, I'm just talking health right now. How much healthier would our communities be if we as men arise to the occasion and be true fathers to our sons? Fathers in our communities. How much better would the community be when the men step on the plate and say, God's authority is on the scene? We're here to bring growth, development, protection, and all that good stuff. How much? See, a lot of problems are lingering because we're sleeping. I know my time is up. We got to wake up. So, somebody's playing with the clock for one. Oh my God, did I get shortened my time? I'm just gonna have to skip through all of this and go right to this. Do I have 2 minutes? 3? Oh, I got 3 minutes. Is enough to drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Going back just a little bit to our history, Africa. I've been to Africa about 12 times. I saw stuff about how they prepare their food, how the chickens are prepared. Unlike what we got over here, we got to wake up because we've been lulled to sleep by industries that don't care anything about your health, but the dollars behind, the stakeholders. So I ate all the vegetables, and this is inside of the African Heritage Diet book. The old ways of cultural foods emphasize that the old ways of eating considered mainly green leafy vegetables, sweet potatoes, fruits, beans, coconuts, homemade sauces, herbs, and spices. And I know she's coming, so let me move my notes. And just a lot of stuff that did not have all these chemicals, preservatives, GMOs, and all of that stuff in it. That's in the diet of where we came from. Right. So we've been bamboozled, sedated, put to sleep, and it's time for us to wake up because this stuff is real. And we'll wake up to the diet that our Creator gave us. Getting back to a diet that is dominated by plant protein, vegetation. I guarantee you, I'm a model of it. An example, at 61 years of age, I can do more than what I did at 30. I'm doing more than what I did when I played football, high school football. We can do it. But we got to go back home to Daddy's wisdom, align ourselves with his wisdom about how to take care of his vehicle. If you say it's his, that's one of the reasons why we got health issues, because our bodies don't belong to him. By functionality, by action, it belongs to us and to the light of our taste buds. Let's stop being prodigals. Let's come back home to that works, that is sustainable, and that will guarantee us, if we do what he tells us to do, good health. God bless you.
Don't go nowhere. I want to ask you a question, Dr. Ellison, so that we can give this to our men. If they were to do a 30-minute exercise routine, what would you suggest? Something that you feel that they could do that was simple, that they could remember, and they could keep up with to do a 30-minute exercise routine daily?
I'd like to start that by simply saying start where you can. Don't do too much for yourself. But start out with that walk. If you're struggling with walking 30 minutes, just start maybe 10. But do something. Walking is one of the most less threatening exercise, but by all means start and then seek to increase it. But the walking, I would start there, and then I would do maybe some things like some squats. Just use your own body weight. I don't use weights. I like what Herschel Walker used to do. I just use body weight. So maybe do some squats and maybe do some of some things like this right here. Okay. Maybe do some of, I do 3 sets of this right here, 25 of this, and I do 3 sets of 25 of this right here, and I do 3 sets of squats, and this is for blood pressure, all right? And then I do 3 sets of this here, 1, 2, 3, 1. Not this 1, 2, 3, 25 stuff, no, the 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, and I do it every single day.
How many in each set?
I do 25 in each set, but maybe you can't start there. Maybe you can start at 5 or 10. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And just do, and like I said, the squats and of course the push-ups. There's a lot of data that talks about your ability to do a push-up and how your heart will beat as a result of doing that. So if you can only do it as a brother, and if you can't, then don't. But if you can only do 5, do 5. Start there. And don't be easy on yourself. Say, next month I'm going to be at 25. You know what I'm saying? Simple things like that can put you on a track to better health like you never imagined.
Okay, give them your website, please.
Yes, my website is Calvin, C-A-L-V-I-N, Calvin Ellison, calvinellison.org. And you'll get some stuff up there that'll help challenge you, like get out of your comfort zone. All right, can I show them this other in 30 seconds? Because, see, if we don't get out of the comfort zones, then we're going to be satisfied with what is. We got to change that. Get out of your comfort zone. And then here's something else, too, going right to the nutritional world. Insights for healthy living and weight control, all right? Then you'll also see up here, oh, this will help you out, 7-day meal plan. Just coming out. It's the first thing you're going to see there on the website. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. We cover all of that in this particular book. And then lastly, you'll see some other stuff like everything is relational. Everything. Focus on your relationships. We did a book, Heirs Together, The Rightly Related Man and Woman. Focus on that. More physical problems are coming out of the psychological, mental ordeal that's going on because we're not building great relationships. God bless you. Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dr. Ellison. Again, let's give him a round of applause. Woo! That physical health, you all. We got a call to action. Got a call to action. We're talking about service. We're talking about serving our communities. We got to learn how to serve ourselves. Because if you are not effective in serving yourself, how can you truly be effective in serving others? Self-care is critical. Self-care is not indulgence. It is perseverance. And we know for our African American males, and you can go on the CDC website and find this, our African American males, out of every population in our world, our African American males' lifespan is the shortest. Okay? So that means we got to get busy. We got to get busy taking care of our mental health as well as our physical health, because the two are connected. You can't have one without the other, okay? So let's dive on back in and move forward to our next speaker and presenter on today, which is gonna be Mr. Wendell Fields. Don't come up here yet, I gotta introduce you. Mr. Wendell Fields is the founder and CEO of Wendell Fields Enterprise. Ooh, I like that, don't y'all like how that sounds? Mr. Fields is a suicide prevention awareness instructor, okay? He's also a certified peer specialist of addictive disease, so that's a CPSAD, all right? He is also a crisis intervention field care consultant and a youth mental health first aid instructor, okay? That's important for our faith-based individuals who are in the room today. You can call him Mr. Fields, and he'll come on out there and do one of those trainings for you. Mr. Fields has worked in community mental health for several community service boards, to include Viewpoint Health. Okay? Mr. Fields shares his story of mental health and suicide attempt recovery with the masses to empower others to live a life of recovery and to thrive. Mr. Fields will speak to us today from the topic, Lean on Me. Causes of suicidal ideation in young African American males and why the suicide rates have increased for our young African American males. Come on down, Mr. Wendell Fields.
Man, who she was talking about? Because I was like, is that me? Y'all, I'm not used to it. But let me tell you something. It is great and wonderful to be with you all today. And I just want to share a little bit with you, okay? Just a little bit. And how many people are doing great, spectacular, just yippee-ki-yay today? Can you raise your hand? Okay. How many people are in that? I'm okay. I'm all right. Yeah. Okay. How many people ain't doing so hot today? No. How many people don't know how they doing today? Last but not least, How many people just don't give a rat's patootie right now? It sounds simple. It sounds easy. But you all just recognized you. You rose your hand up. You said, this is how I feel. Think about the person that doesn't have that opportunity, who holds stuff inside their heart, mind, and soul, and who is silent. And they go throughout the day doing what they got to do to make things happen. Close your eyes for a moment. Just close your eyes. And I'm going to read something to you. These are thoughts and feelings of someone. You are not good enough. You are an accident. You will not amount to anything. You are small. You can never satisfy anyone. You pretend to be this loving person, but you hate yourself. And you hate everybody around you. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, oughta. Yeah, that's in my mind. You ain't nothing but cow manure. You are a coward. You have to do and do and do. You are fat. You're too skinny. They don't like you for you. They only like what you can give them and what they can get from you. You're stupid. You're slow. You have common sense, but you don't got no book sense. You are black. No one will cover you. You will always be last. Do what is right. No one cares about your feelings. You are so alone. Who would want you? You don't mean nothing. You're a nerd. You're a joke. All you can do is make people laugh. No one takes you serious. You have no proof. You have no worth. I beat myself up mentally. I feel rejected. Open up your eyes. Has anybody felt like that before? With all those descriptions and words and adjectives, have you felt like that before? Well, that story that I just read, that was me about 5 years ago. I just jumped on this bandwagon called recovery. Guess what? My name is Wendell, and I'm in long-term recovery. It's not easy. It's hard. You know, for a black man, approximately 6 to 7 men die a day by suicide. Men living in the U.S. have the highest rate of suicide in the black community. Elderly black men make up 80% of those individuals that take their life. PTSD and physical health issues are the leading cause why black men take their life. Firearms are the most common method of suicide. Common. I looked at that thing and I was like, man, I wonder what's going on with the black man. The black man. Let me tell you the stresses that I found out for the black man. A black man is more worried about money and finances because of the lack of opportunity that they have to make money. They're concerned about black and they're concerned about race and racism more than anything else. They worried about getting a job. They worry about having a career. But then, yeah, they're worried about their relationships with others. And the last thing that they are so concerned where the good doctor said, well, last thing they concerned about is their health. It's the last thing. Black men, black boys, black little babies. We need help, you all. And yet we look at one another, hey, how everything's going. Remember, I started off like that, remember? And we don't acknowledge one thing about ourselves. Why? Because we got to put money on the table to bring the food in. And also, I can't take days off because I can't make the money. I can't take time for myself because everything has to be on me. Now, you were right. We do have a responsibility. But you got to know how to be responsible with the responsibility. I see that young child over there. Hey, you. You can say, hey, yeah, you, hey. How you doing today? Hey, how was your day today? What made it pretty good for you? Did you eat good today? Ooh, what did you eat, girl? What did you eat? No, you can't look at him. You got to tell me what you ate. You got the skills and the ability to make blueberry waffles. Who taught you that? I don't know. But it's great that you learned how to do something for yourself. Man, when we gonna learn about how to do some stuff for ourselves? Now, the brother man already said, now he went, hey, push-ups and all that. But what about up here? What about your mental health? What about your emotional health? Man, did you know that when we look at stuff, that there's one of me, and one of me affects my family. One of me affects my family plus my peers. That affects the clan or tribe that I'm in, you know, the neighborhood that I'm in. That affects the community. That connects to society. And right now, on this live, we're reaching out to a whole lot of people, right? But that one person connects to all those things. So when you decide to take your life, you take away from about, let me get the number right, 135 people. One person affects 135 people. 53 have their life disturbed for short term. 25 have a major disconnection with life because of that one person taking their life. And 11 people are devastated by a person taking their life. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, what the what? And I got up there, you all, and there's so many things that can happen for a black man. Hey, you got health problems. Now you combine the health problems with access to a weapon. Or you have life stressors. Remember I was talking about the life stressors, the black man with the money, with all that good stuff. And okay, you combine that with feelings of hopelessness. Combine that with a family history where it has been taught and caught that in order to handle pressure and to get out of it, you take your life. You go on and you find out that there's a multifaceted things when it comes to someone wanting to take their life. So it's just not I was beat up and it's multiple things. Yeah. And so here it is. Why don't people go and get this help? We've been talking about it. Hey, go get help, go get help. But what happened if you're afraid of stigma? What happened if you're embarrassed? I mentioned that before. People don't, they don't want you to talk about those type of things because it embarrasses them. You know why? Because they don't know how to handle it. And they're too afraid to go out and handle it. And so, you got people who are underinsured or they're uninsured. So they don't go and get the help. You got people that's in denial. I mean, why would I want to say something? I mean, I'm good. Even though it's jacking up my wife's life, my son's life, my grandmama's life, but I'm still in denial. All good here because y'all seen this finery right here? Oh yeah, I got on these glasses, boy. Got on my green shirt. Oh yeah, look at them shoes, boy. They're looking at boy, yeah, boy. But yet, man, I messed up inside. I'd rather look good than really be good on the inside. Man, I don't want you to see the real me. If you saw the real me, man, you wouldn't want to be around me. When you look at it, denial, previous poor experiences that someone has, transportation issues, a lack of accessibility, education about mental wellness, or not recognizing the symptoms, hopelessness. Our system is so confusing. Why would I want to go get help? It's frustrating, man. I'm concerned about medications. I see how drool come out your mouth. And I see how your leg be shaking all the time. And I see that you can't sit down and you got to pace back and you got to pace. Do you really think I'm going to go out there and get help for that? And let you judge me. Let you criticize me. And let you say what I oughta, shoulda, coulda, woulda do. Forget that. I ain't going to go get help. And culture is defined as shared patterns of behaviors, interactions, thinking, and understanding that are learned through the groups that we belong to and we gain our identity from. Culture impacts our health choices, our responses and our behaviors, our values about health and health care. Culture, who goes to where to get support for what? Culture. We think that culture causes the good or the bad choices. Culture, what health means. All this is about culture. And these are one of the things why people don't get help is because our culture says what we oughta, shoulda, coulda, woulda do. And in all of this, you all, our children, have anybody heard of ACEs? ACEs are adverse childhood experiences. And those things that from neglect to abuse to domestic violence to substance use to mental health to parental separation and divorce to an incarcerated parent, all these influence that person's mind. Even the bullying that we've been talking about, that they've been talking about, all these negative self-image as well as social comparison, all these is messing us up. And all those things I went through. Did y'all not hear that story I just said? You're not good enough. You're not this, you're not that. Yeah, that started when I was 4 years old. And I was sexually abused by not just men, but women. And my self-identity, jacked up, messed up. I thought this is how you communicate. This is how you have relations. In my mind, I was so ashamed about what I had done that I wanted to take my life. And I tried to. On an incoming train that's on the right of me. And because I was in the mental health field, and I saw how therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, all those things, how they treat people behind the doors. What makes you think I want to go to you? But my higher power came in. As I was going towards that train tracks here, I'm coming up this way and getting ready to curve and hit the bar. My higher power said 2 words to me. Your son. I said, that's who I'm doing this for. They're going to get the insurance money. Y'all know it don't work that way, right? And they don't give you the insurance money because you can't. Okay, just to let y'all know that. And he said it again, your son. I let go of the steering wheel. The thing turned to the left instead of the right. I don't know if I hit a bump or something, but when I let go, boom, it turned. I went to try and get help. I went to a therapist, and you know what that was? Whatever you like, arf, arf. Whatever you like, arf, arf. You weren't helping me. Stopped going there, took medications and talked about it. Y'all would be walking like y'all walking, and I would be going in slow motion. I got scared. It wasn't until I met Kevin Hines. Gentleman jumped off the Golden State Bridge. He's one of 3 that have made it and survived. But he talked about his road to recovery and how he had to go through what he had to go through. And ladies and gentlemen, hearing that story caused me to cry like I don't know, because somebody related to what was going inside my head and what was going inside my body. Not only that, but guess what? And I'm closing. I promise I'm closing. And ladies and gentlemen, that was in 2018. So it's not just around, this is recently. For 10 years, I stopped trying to help myself until I heard Kevin, until I had a supervisor by the name of Teresa Johnson who said, hey, your performance gone down. Is everything okay? And that's when I had to man up and be vulnerable and be honest. And I said, no. Everything is not going well. This is what's happening. She said, how about we go to the doctor together? Who is this? This not a workman's comp thing. But she volunteered to take me. And when I got to the doctor, Dr. Thurman, that joker, in all these stories, you all, they listened to me non-judgmentally and gave me hope. By just listening to me, let me get it out. I didn't have to man up. I didn't have to show that I was so strong. And that man, I said, hey, I already taken medicine now. I'm scared of it. I was honest. And he said, we got other meds. Will you allow me to help you? Come on. I did. 5 years later. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's how I'm going to end up. And with that, hey, this book, There's No Health Without Mental Health, Men and Mental Health, #1 seller on Amazon. All right. And it's about 12, 13 men coming together and sharing their stories of real stuff. And they make it in. I'm making it, you all. I met Mr. David over there. He's going to be speaking. I met that joker. He inspired me. You don't see many black people doing the things that we are doing. Mm-hmm. And when I heard this person, and I'm closing and sitting down, when she said, Wendell, you are an example to my high school son who has bipolar disorder and my other son has depression. You're showing them how to live, how to thrive with their mental health situation. So, Mr. David, man, thank you for being an example and continuing. And I know you're going to come in and just woo them and wow them, but I wanted to give you your flowers yet now. In Jesus' name.
All right. Round of applause for Mr. Wendell Fields. Fields. You all, I know that was such a wealth of knowledge as it relates to suicide prevention, suicide awareness, and even culturally competent treatment, which is going to be an excellent segue into our next presenter. But before I introduce him, one of our presenters could not be here today, which is Dr. Darren L. Cooper. He has a doctorate in social work, and he is a licensed clinical social worker. So he wanted to add his little 2 cents to the symposium, and he gave us an evidence-based assessment tool to use with our young African American males that, of course, is culturally competent. So I just want to share that real quick. It is called the Cultural Assessment of Risk for Suicide, CARS, abbreviated, CARS, and this measure is a 39-item self-report measure developed as a culturally competent assessment of suicide that assesses cultural suicide risk factors not typically examined in general suicide assessment research. So that is important, okay? Because that's what we're moving toward, being more culturally competent, culturally humble, so that we can better work with our young African American males as well as our adult African American males. And just to give one last evidence-based practice that works well with our men as well is cognitive behavioral therapy. And that is something that I have used as a licensed practitioner, and I have used it in collaboration with Faith. Okay, and saw great improvements with the African American male United States veterans that I worked with. So wanted to absolutely share that piece with you. Now, without further delay, let me introduce to you Mr. Darryl Russ. He is a licensed professional counselor. He is a national board certified counselor, as well as a certified professional counseling supervisor. That means he helps to supervise novice counselors into becoming licensed counselors. That's so important in our field, you all. Mr. Russ is the founder of Russ Counseling and Consulting, LLC. Prior to private practice, Mr. Russ designed and implemented transformational multidisciplinary clinical services that serve the diverse and underserved communities. He is also the vice president, or he has been the vice president of men's services for the Atlanta Union Mission. Mr. Russ is now vice president for the National Alliance of Mental Illness of Georgia, and he currently has served on the board of directors even prior to becoming vice president. So we thank you for your service. And Mr. Russ has received, of course, his master's in professional counseling from Liberty University. And he will share with us today with the title, All Men Are Created Equal: Mental Health Equity and Clinical Cultural Humility for African American Males. Come on down here, Mr. Russ. Give him a round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Russ.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's always a pleasure just to be able to share. I've been inspired. I've been out in the hall running around like I'm in a Pentecostal church or something. All this good information coming out. I'm going to be quick because I'm hoping to give you a slice of rich pie instead of, we just get a nice, where's the good doctor? Yeah, we're going to get a thin slice of the pie, but it will hopefully be rich enough to hold you, okay? So I love the title. I got my cheat sheets here. The title, All Men Are Created Equal. That sounds great, because even the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, which a lot of people refer to, it starts, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But the problem was, it took another 100 years. So this is aspirational, but it took about another 100 years to deal with the issue of slavery. So it's one thing to say all men are created equal. It's another thing to walk it out. So here's where I'm also a man of faith. But in the book of Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. If you want to know your true value, you don't want to look at the Constitution. You want to look at the one that created you. Okay, so because sometimes people will say things and document things, but the actions don't support it. Okay, so when we're talking about mental health equity, right, you're like, that's a fancy word. Essentially what it means is access to quality care. Do I have, like everyone else, access to quality care? You know the answer to that already. So it's access to prevention, treatment, recovery, that's mental health services, that's substance use services. Because if we're being equitable, everyone will have the same access, right? But we know that's not true. We know that's not true. So you say, well, what would it look like if it was really true? What would it look like? We wouldn't necessarily look at the equity question so much. We would start with employment. Because if I'm not working, I can't get insurance. So I don't have insurance, I can't get access to care. Right? So that's a fancy word, but we got to go beneath the surface. Housing stability. If I'm worrying about where I'm going to lay my head, I'm not going to probably be able to have a job, to get the insurance, to get the care. Right? So these are called social determinants of health. These things that get in the way, that limit our access to the care that we deserve. Let me put a couple things out in front of you. So why is this so important that African American males have this kind of access? I think you know the answer to this, but truly, just imagine the other side. If we don't have access to this care, then there's a deterioration that's going to occur that's going to make me do the things, I would say criminally focused, to get what I need. Because if I can't get it by legal means, I'm going to get it by some means. I mean, it's called survive. I'm going to survive. But our goal is for African American men to thrive, not just survive. So again, this mental health equity question is, do I have the access? But don't get caught up in that term. Get caught up more in, do I have access to, I heard the commissioner and others speak earlier about these programs that help us have access to housing, that have us access to employment, right? The things that, the building blocks that help provide the access, okay? The next thing I want to talk about quickly is this whole concept of cultural humility. It's a fancy word, y'all, but when you hear the word humility, I'm sure there's a picture that comes to mind. I'm going to tell you a true story. When I first got married, my mom came to visit for the summer. So my wife and I went to work, and when we came home, all the furniture was rearranged. The canned goods were rearranged. And I sit back as a clinician today, and I say, she was not respecting my culture in my house. She thought there was a way to do things that was best, and it was her way. That's what cultural humility is. Or if I'm not humble, when I'm seeing clients, I will talk to them, engage with them as if I know best. I'm not humble. I'm just trying to push my agenda. I'm not trying to understand yours. Cultural humility is saying, yo, hey, look, I'm going to be honest enough to know I don't really know your story. And it's on you to inform me. Some say, well, if you're an African-American man, if you got an African-American client, then you pretty much know what the story is. Black people and black men are not a monolith. We don't have the same experiences. And I use this tool, and I recommend this highly. It's called the Cultural Formulation Interview. It's a fancy little tool, but all it does is asking questions like, where do you get your support? Is it from church? Is it from the barbershop? Is it from your aunts? Like, where are your supports? But it helps you create a conversation that's not so intimidating. I remember when, this is years ago, my wife and I went to Paris, and one of the feedback we got was, my wife spoke a little bit of French, so she was trying to figure out how to buy one of those MARTA tickets, and she started speaking, and it was terrible. She didn't speak French good. But the lady in the booth said, you know what, I speak English, but I appreciate the fact that you respected the culture enough to at least try. Can you imagine going to another country and expecting everybody to speak English? That's what cultural humility is. Like, I'm going into a new culture. Am I going to try to respect the culture of my client and say, hey, tell me your story? I got to understand you to be able to help you. But if I come in without that humility, I'm coming in almost like a salesman. Hey, this is what you need to do. Hey, I don't care about your story. This is just what you need to do. Okay, so today, like I said, I'm not coming in here long, but two concepts I do want you to understand and walk away with. Mental health equity, this access to care. But don't get lost in that, because the Constitution said all men are equal, but that was aspirational. It took 100 years for that to begin to even talk about. But I'm gonna give the state of Georgia some props. We were the worst in the nation in access to care. I think we moved up to 48 because some other states got worse. But I'm gonna be real, there's a mental health, it's House Bill 1013 that was recently, that was pushed through and the governor signed. It's a good first step to provide more access to care. So I recommend you just kind of read through that bill, because there are some funds that are gonna be available that you need to be aware of. So again, it's a good step toward all men are created equal. Some people say, oh yeah, you down the road now, you in the curve. No, I'm at the starting line toward mental health equity. The second thing, cultural humility. If you're ever looking for services and you walk in and they're presenting you their agenda, instead of trying to understand yours, walk out the room. You don't go to France and expect them to speak English. You in France. You don't come home and go and your furniture is rearranged because my mom thought that something wrong with the way you decorate your house. Be humble enough to say, I don't know everything, right? And B, you know about you because you're the CEO of your life, not me. I'm gonna leave you with that slice of pie today, because this is a tough slot to be in after lunch. So I understand. So I'm gonna keep it tight. So I do encourage you, please. If you're looking for services, make sure that clinician is sensitive, not arrogant, humble, not arrogant, culturally competent, humble enough to know they don't know, even if it's an African-American man, okay? Because you're the one that's paying them. So you just feel free to walk out. I'm gonna leave it there. I appreciate your attention. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. That was wonderful. We have to understand cultural humility, you all, and what mental health equity really looks like. And so the HB 1013 bill that he was speaking of is the mental health parity bill. It is literally a 76-page bill. So we will be moving forward with that, but it will take some time. And so patience is needed as it relates to that new historic bill that has been put into place. We're going to continue to move forward. We have just 2 more, but great and amazing speakers that are left to share with us some valuable information. So next up, I am going to introduce you to Mr. David Kendrick, who is the founder and CEO of Lying Speaking Agency. Mr. Kendrick has a Master's of Business Administration. Mr. Kendrick is a United States Army Purple Heart veteran in mental health recovery. Mr. Kendrick shares his story on stages around our nation to bring a voice to recovery. Mr. Kendrick also serves as the National Alliance for Mental Illness of DeKalb County's Vice President. And he is also a mental health advocate and a mental health millionaire. And that is a term that I learned from him. A mental health millionaire is someone that helps us when we are feeling down, when we are having any level of challenges, and helps to pick us up and share with us about our direction and things that we should do to take care of our mental health. So we are glad that we have a mental health millionaire in our midst on today, as well as a mental health advocate, as well as a United States Purple Heart veteran. And Mr. Kendrick is going to share with us today as it relates to veteran peer specialist support. He's also going to speak to us about some community resources that are available for our African American United States males. And he is going to share with us a little bit about his story. So the title of his presentation is When We Serve. Come on down, Mr. Kendrick. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to get in front of an audience and tell my story here. One thing that I loved about the other presenters today, there are a lot of military veterans here. And one thing about the military, they're going to instill some character traits in you that are going to stay with you throughout your entire life. Now, we had some infantry here earlier. We had some Air Force here earlier. Now, in the military, we say nothing in the world is free except to be in the cavalry. I served as a cavalry scout, 19 Delta. Famous MOS amongst African Americans. If you ever heard of the Buffalo Soldiers, they're one of the first groups of African Americans that were able to serve in the military. And I'm proud to be a 19 Delta and to be a part of that lineage of African American veterans that served on the front lines and fought for the country. I'm originally from Rochester, New York, and I joined the Army in 2005, and we deployed in 2006, to Iraq. And in 2007, I was shot in both legs by a sniper, 20 years old. And my military career, shortly after that, it came to an end. And I moved back to Rochester, and all of those character traits, they stayed with me. But here I was, 20 years old, back in Rochester, and all those accomplishments that Dr. Izzy so eloquently displayed or told about me, when I moved back to Rochester, the response was, "We don't care. You just another black man here." And so I suffered a lot with my mental health because I also lost friends, a lot of friends, during my deployment as well. So here I was, 23 years old, and the military was my way out of Rochester, and I'm right back there. Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my life. So I drank, I knew where to get high, I knew where to get drunk, but I didn't know where to get the help that I needed. And so one day I decided, hey, if I can't get the help, then there is no help, and tried to end my life. And luckily I was unsuccessful, and the first face that I saw was my mother. And I said, I can't do this to my mom. I can't do this to myself. I need to get some help. And see, the mothers in our families are usually the backbone, the rock, the grandmothers. You know, we used to call them Big Mama back in the day. Big Mama back in the day. And see, my mom, and it reminds me of a song, because in the African American community back in the day, this is where we came for help. There were no doctors. And there's a song, Bishop, and it goes, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Now wait, now watch how I put it all together. Watch how I put it all together. See, because we had nowhere to go. We couldn't afford anywhere to go. Nobody gave us those resources. Jesus is my doctor. We came to the church to get the help that we needed. And like a few presentations before me, just like diet and exercise, mental health recovery is spiritual as well as physical. You have to get the help. And so me and my mom went to church with my sisters over there, all in the church, and I got better. My cup got filled. And in the church is where those dollars are being deposited into my brain. Now, another thing, when it comes to mental health recovery, as a veteran, because our demographic is so small, you have to put yourself in the environment that is most conducive to your healing. It wasn't in Rochester. It wasn't. It was right here in Atlanta. And just like this male mental health symposium, I was around a bunch of black men that were doing great things. I have a saying, go forth and do great things. And when I moved back to Rochester, nobody cared. The people I went to high school with, we don't care. You one of us now. But I had all those character traits in this new person that the military had created. And so people are going to love you when you're on their same level. But let you get one step ahead, they're going to pull you back. They're going to pull you back. But see, the great thing that I learned when I moved to Atlanta, all the black men are doing great things. Everybody. So I felt welcomed here. Felt like an equal. And like Mr. Field said earlier, one thing about suicide, it's a tidal wave of people that it impacts. But also, your success impacts a tidal wave of people as well. My family's here. You see them with the phones out. First time my sisters ever saw me speak. My niece is here. They, living here now with me. One of my sisters is in the Army right now as a combat engineer, doing those great things because I survived and I made it out. And those character traits that the military instilled in me, they had the best chance for me to shine here around other black men that were doing great things. And I became a speaker and went on to get my degree because the Army for me, Bishop, it was challenging. I failed my first ASVAB. Then I scored so low on the second time, my recruiter said, well, I'm glad you want to be a Cavalry Scout because that's the only thing you qualify for. But now I have a master's degree and I'm able to do these great things because I got my cup filled physically, mentally, and I'm able to tell this great story. And I would tell any aspiring professional speaker, the number one thing that you're an expert in that's easy to talk about is you. I don't talk about anything else but what I go through. But see, when it comes to mental health, I get to meet other great black men like Mr. Fields. Because see, we don't talk about it a lot. We don't. And because we don't talk about it, we suffer in silence. And we try to find our healing in a bottle of alcohol or somewhere on the streets of Atlanta. And the streets don't love you. And that alcohol don't love you. It's gonna sound like it does until you realize, and this happened to me, you look at your bank statement and see how many times you done went to the liquor store. You're like, oh, I done bought more alcohol than food this month. No. That wasn't a way to live for me. It wasn't a way to live. So I started speaking about it and found out that there are a lot of black men who go through the same thing, who have walked on the same path that I walked. Started in the church, and then they went on and they went forth and became great, did great things. And now what I love to do is help my fellow veterans, because the war in Iraq and Afghanistan lasted for 20 years. We don't think about it, but that war lasted 20 years. And that was 20 years of our young men and women going trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. And then when they get out, there's no healing for that. There's no healing. And see, if you don't know where to get it, that's why the suicide rates become so high, because it seems like a viable option. Nobody loves me. I don't love myself. This is a way to end everything. And then there's people here that you leave behind who, that tidal wave. What was it, Mr. Fields? 100 people? 111 people are going to be impacted, and you don't realize how many people love you until something like that happens. So what I love to do now, get up here and speak about mental health and about beating the stigma, and let other black men know it's okay to talk about it. Because if we don't talk about these things, then people aren't going to know if they're hurting. One thing I love about walking off the stage or being a part of NAMI DeKalb, I love DeKalb County now, love DeKalb. But when you go in front of people and people say, well, I never knew that I had that same thing. And that's what I'm able to do now, is advocate for the people in DeKalb County as part of NAMI DeKalb. And I was with Dr. Izzy when House Bill 1013 was signed. We were on the Georgia State Capitol steps over there. And see, when it comes to access to mental health care, people are getting real creative. And I want to tell y'all about a special program that I was very pleased, and it was a pleasure to be a part of, and it's called the Confession Project. And what it does, it teaches barbers how to be therapists. Because one thing about black men, we gonna get our hair cut. We gonna get our hair cut. We gonna get our hair cut. And we go in that barber's chair and we bare our souls to these barbers. And so somebody had a great idea. Well, hey, why don't we teach these barbers, give them some skills to, when somebody says something to them, they know what to say back. Instead of that old black line, that's crazy. Dang, that's crazy. You know, you get too crazy into a conversation, you don't lost that person. But now, instead of that's crazy, now these black men go to these barbers and they have somebody who can speak back to them and get the healing that they need. And so I'm glad to hear that our ranking when it comes to access to mental health care is improving. And I'm doing my part as a veteran. NAMI has a program called NAMI Homefront to help family members and caregivers of veterans who come back from the war or come off active duty, give them the tools that they need to be successful. Things that I wish our mom had for me, so she would know, well, Junior, they call me Junior back home. Junior, here's where you can get your help at. Here's what I can do for you. Let's go talk to this person. Let's go talk to that person. Because as great as church was, I needed professional help as well. I needed the medication. I needed therapy. And now, everything is all together in a tight-knit circle, and I'm able to advocate in the community and be well respected and have wonderful women like Dr. Izzy invite me out to speak. Glory, glory. All right. So, before I walk off the stage, if anybody out there watching or listening needs any type of mental health care or help, find your local NAMI affiliate. You can go to NAMI.com, put in your zip code, and they'll give the affiliate closest to you. And there's always going to be somebody there to help. And if you can't find the help, I can help you find the help. All right. Yes, my website, www.dkendrickjr.com. My business, I named it Lion Speaking Agency because it really takes the heart of a lion to get in front of people, strangers, and talk about mental health. Yes. It takes the heart of a lion. So my business is Lion Speaking Agency. Thank you.
Thank you. Woo! Mr. Kendrick. it. Thank you so much, you all. Thank you again, Mr. Kendrick, for your service. And yes, absolutely, to all of our veterans who are here. As you all can see, I love my veterans. I serve United States veterans as a mental health counselor for many, many years, working as a community mental health counselor at the Cab Addiction Clinic. We love the Cab, don't we? At the Cab Addiction Clinic, as well as at McIntosh Trail Community Service Board. I was the first veterans counselor at McIntosh Trail. Yes, I was. So I am grateful to them again. So we are going to keep it moving. We have one more great presenter, and I want to make sure that we give him a very warm welcome and introduction. He's been behind the scenes all day, you all, because he is also my media specialist for this symposium for the past 3 years. He has been dedicated. He has been diligent in partnering with me because he realizes the importance of having this symposium. And when I share a little bit more about his background and his introduction, you're going to see why. You're going to see why. Mr. Darrell Brooks. Is it Darren or Darrell? Isn't it Darrell? Okay, I thought so. I got so many D's. But Mr. Brooks is a licensed professional counselor, absolutely, here in the state of Georgia. Mr. Brooks did make history, as the first African-American male president, to serve in the 30-year history for the Licensed Professional Counseling Association of Georgia, And Mr. Brooks now serves as the chair for the LPCA Georgia Foundation. We know what that's about again. Money, With over 10 years of experience in the sports-related industry, Mr. Brooks transitioned his career to counseling, combining both areas to service, the student-athlete, families, and adults. Mr. Brooks is an interactive, solution-focused therapist. Mr. Brooks earned his master's degree in community mental health counseling at Malone University. And Mr. Brooks is also a United States Coast Guard veteran. That's important. That's right. Give a hand clap. Give a hand clap. Mr. Brooks is going to speak to us today with the title of, Is It Really a Man's World? Increasing. Y'all, this in-person audience is so funny. Oh my goodness. Increasing African-American male leadership presence in the clinical and community-based organizations. We know we need more of our African-American males presence. So he's going to speak to us briefly about this and what we need. Come on down here, Mr. Brooks. Woo! Thank you.
So and I think most of our brothers that are here, I appreciate my brothers that are here, but every year she always put me behind somebody phenomenal speakers. Every time. I'm holding up the rear. So I thought when Carruthers was second, I was like, cool, I got this now. Ain't nobody better than Carruthers. And all of a sudden, here he comes. I was like, oh, man, do I get a chance to get with myself? But I can't. But thanks to everybody that came here and everybody who showed support. And also, like I said, sometimes true leadership, you also got to get used to someone criticizing you because, like, when we were down, guess what they was looking at back in the back over here? They was like, hey, man, you going to get this thing back up and running real quick? Can you get it running? So I'm going to do the best I can, But sometimes when you step out in leadership, that's what happens sometimes. You got to take some L's with you. So, I'm glad I took an L today, but we're going to be good about that, all right? One of the key things about my piece on this leadership is really talking about, truthfully, I'm going to tell a little bit about myself. So when I first got involved, it wasn't about counseling for me. I never thought of being a Sigmund Freud, never thought about being a Dr. Phil, never thought about being myself. I thought about being like a Jerry Maguire, So I played collegiate ball. So when I played my years of collegiate ball, and I went through a depression state at that time because the girlfriend I dated, she was pregnant. So it was like, oh man, what are we going to do? I said, well, I got to get in the military. I tried to do that. So I make sure I had a baby, and then the baby died. So she gave birth, it was stillborn. So we were both devastated. So I was so devastated, I even gave up basketball. My first love. Basketball was my first love. I mean, for me to go through a car accident when I was on a bike, got hit by a car and lost 2 years of eligibility to play ball and bounced back to make it to a collegiate level, basketball tells you that was my first love. And I left that because of the depression that I went through for losing a baby girl. And they said she had long fingers and toes and everything. I was like, oh boy, yeah. So it was really bad. But I went through all that, went through the military, got myself together, got doing things, and I started looking at how I can help out. So I said, let me go into law school. I said, I want to be a lawyer. And I like law because of the fact that you get to not only understand the law, but you also manipulate it for your client. That's what you do. You manipulate the law for your client, okay? So y'all might say lie and ain't that, but you tweak it just a little bit, okay? just a little. It don't do anything. You just tweak it, Is it really is? Remember that? What is? I didn't inhale. Those words. Those words. You just tweak it a little. You can change some things. Especially what's going on with this election. Is it really an election? Did he really win? Okay, they trying to tweak it a little, but they can't because it's justifiable. We got rules and stuff that came in place for that. All right. One of the great renowned giants that I look towards made this quote because we've been hearing this all since we've been here. Loss, lack of health, suicide, PTSD, all about men. But if you truly want to be a true leader, this leader said it this way: do not get lost in the sea of despair. Do not become bitter or hostile. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. We will find our way to make a way out of no way. And that was who? The late, great John Lewis. Make good trouble. When I became a therapist and a counselor, my first year in, when I started a master's program, I was either the only black male or the only black person, period, in the classroom. And they were treating this was my home. Malone University is in my hometown, Canton, Ohio. They were treating places that I lived like they were third world countries. Who went to Hartford High School? What did they do there? I said, I went there. They looked at me like I was strange. What, you went to Hartford? You were in that hood? Yeah. They couldn't believe it. And so I'm sitting here listening to my colleagues talk about my hood, my community, as if we didn't exist. And if they saw something from there, that it was just rare for me to be seen. So I made good trouble. Started How to Counsel the Black Family Symposium, my first one. But I got a little greedy because I started making some money and forgot about my schoolwork. So when a teacher of mine failed me in my class, like, you're not going to graduate till you take this class over again, she told me why. She said because of, at that time, arrogance was coming in because I'm a lawyer, so we competitive. Lawyers are competitive. You ever see them, they're competitive. They'll tell you right now how much they money, what they wear, what they do. They'll let you know because that's how we operate. That's how we roll, But she was telling me I can't have that mentality. I have to be humble. So before everyone had these ideas of going to be humble, I had that already from Jump Street. So when I come to see my clients, I always tell them, I'm honored to be your therapist. You give me an opportunity to get in your world. You're sharing your world with me. So I take that serious. Don't ever feel afraid to share me anything because I'm taking this serious. I'll give them my number. I say, hey, look, you got the office number, you got my personal number, you got two codes. Code red, let me know something's really going on, so I know I need to be calling you within the hour. And then I said, there's another time you just call me, give me a text, and let me know what's up. I said, however, that one, it's like a 900 number. You only get 5 minutes free. After that 5 minutes, if you still talking about stuff, just yakking on, I'm gonna send you a cash app, $40. Pay that sucker, because you taking my time, okay? You taking my time. And I said, I'm serious with them. But I let them know, because times of going to see a therapist might not be the times when we schedule appointments, and so we have to be able to extend ourselves to our clients. That way, that shows them how serious we are about this. When we don't share that part of it, we just say, well, okay, you got 10 minutes left. Now they know what we're really about. You know? Now, if I say, I got to wrap this because there's some other clients coming on now. Come on now. We've been talking now. I got you. They understand that. Yeah, okay. I'll come. All right, can we do this next week? Next week, got you scheduled. But when we start pushing them out the door, that changes. So in men in leadership, and I want to say it this way because that's where it is, when we start good trouble, it's when we begin to extend ourselves out there, willing to take the L, willing to take the loss. Some people will call me at the last minute. No, I'm supposed to bill them because they came late, said I can't make it today. I'm supposed to bill them that $90 fee. I said, okay, since you called and told me, man, we'll worry about it. You sure you're coming back next week? Yes, sir. And they come back. Because I didn't charge them. But if I say, oh, now if they know they're wrong, they say, yeah, I'm wrong, I didn't call. Yeah, go ahead and just charge me. Which means that we got a connection because they already know the rules. Why was that? Because I extended that out there saying, hey, look, this is what we do. Now, if I don't say anything and they see a big bill, and the first thing will come running, they'll come see me then. What's this bill for? Why I got $99? Now, you know the rules, man. No, man, come on now. But that's what happens. But in leadership, and like I said, when I got into, and I really want to not really close because I know we got to because everybody's trying to get out of here, and I got to move. So I got 5 minutes. Oh, cool, 5 minutes. Counseling started here in Georgia for me when I joined LPCA of Georgia as a member, and I noticed that same thing again was not that many African Americans in the leadership. So guess what happened? John Lewis said, get in good trouble. So I went up there, said, hey, so how do I get involved? They said, well, you can be chair, you can be a educational chair. Cool, let me do that. So I became an educational chair, and that was the year we were going for the sunset clause on the 1013 bill, as well as us being licensed to be able to diagnose. So before that, we couldn't do a diagnostic, we only did diagnostic impressions. We couldn't diagnose. And because we couldn't diagnose, we couldn't bill. And because we couldn't bill, we couldn't get those jobs because everyone wanted to make sure we could bill and diagnose. And it started with this, man. I'm going to show you the story about that. We allowed the licensed clinical social workers to go first. They came to LPCA, said, hey, can you help us champion ourselves to put our name on this? We'll be like, cool, we can do that. We did it. Licensed marriage and family therapist came to, hey, can you champion us to help us get, okay, cool, we'll do that. Yeah, we got you. All right, so we said, now it's our turn. Y'all want to help us out? As soon as they did that, they turned their back. No. And I'm going to tell you why. Licensed clinical social workers in Georgia only make up probably about 3,000 to 4,000, all right, in Atlanta. Marriage and family counselors a little bit less. Licensed professional counselors, 10 to 20,000. So they already knew that if we get the right to diagnose, now we're going to get those leadership jobs, those clinical director jobs. Now we're going to get that, and we can't be in competition with them because there's so many of us. We saturate just Metro Atlanta itself. If it wasn't for the pandemic and they would do telehealth, we wouldn't be able to get to the rural areas of Georgia because a lot of us want to stay in Atlanta, and that's real. Most of our clinicians will say, because I'm on the other side of 285. Y'all down here in Decatur, where's greater? Yeah. Cobb County, baby. That's where I'm at. I'm Cobb County all the way. I'll say, hey, where the Braves at? The championship Braves didn't come to Decatur. They have a Cobb, okay? So I got y'all. So I got something on y'all. Okay? No, I'm just playing with y'all. Yeah, it sure is. That's why I work these two jobs to make sure I get my clients in. Hey, I can pay that stadium, boy. So, hey, anybody need any clients out there in America? Hey, come see me because I need them. If y'all need some help, come hang out with your bruh. He gonna take care of you. No, I'm just playing with you. But seriously, in true leadership fashion, the key thing is that we do need to get in good trouble. these bills that we listen to, and that's why you want to be, and I love Dr. Izzy for the fact that she attempted to run for state office. Okay, because we already had one that did run for state office, one of our former presidents who died. He was a great man. He was the first one to allow us to start getting involved, and he died in office as a counselor. I mean, he was a counselor. And he kept his license up, and then he died as a state senator. So, yes, he was. Yep. So it brought us that opportunity now to say, hey, why not me? You know. My thought process was I had the master's already in counseling. I had a master's in public administration. I was already 2 years in law school, so I was like, yeah, either I'm going to work for the EPA or I'm going to be involved in nonprofit organizations, which would be like the YMCA, because I love playing sports, or or a youth group that I worked in, with the youth development programs and stuff like that, with the Urban League. So I'm an urban leaguer. I did all that stuff with Mark Morial. Been to New York, been everywhere with him. So those are the things that help me, guide me to say, okay, if I can do it there, I definitely can do it in counseling, because that's where it's needed at. We did set up programs in urban leagues where we provide them counseling services. So that was one of the big things I did for youth development. We did that, and it was really cool because when you went to the urban league, you didn't know you was going for counseling because you didn't want everybody to know you was going for counseling. They just thought you was going to play or get some reading materials and hang out, stuff like that. But we actually was counseling kids during that time frame. And so it worked out pretty good. So those are the things that I know can work out. Thank y'all for that, for allowing me to be up here to speak with y'all. The main thing I always want you to understand is that we want to get into what? Good trouble. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Thank you. You can stand on up here. I usually let you stand up here toward the end. Mr. Reginald, you want to come up? Do you want to share just a little bit about CareSource before I close out? You all, this is one of our sponsors, and I just want him to share a little bit of information about CareSource so that you all can have an understanding of why they're a great resource. Come on over here. I caught him off guard too, you all.
Yes, I wish I had done this earlier because I was here earlier. I was nice. I had my collar shirt on, had my shiny shoes on and everything. So, but I had another event to go to, came back. But definitely thank you for this, Dr. I, that's what I like to and everything. Thank you all for coming. As she said, my name is Reginald Johnson. I do community marketing for CareSource. CareSource is a nonprofit health insurance company. So we provide insurance for families who get Medicaid, P-Share for kids, Plan for Healthy Babies, and we also do Obamacare. So anybody in the state of Georgia who needs that, we have that. And in addition to the health coverage, which is all your doctor's visits, dental, vision, prescriptions, behavioral health, all of that, we also provide different things like life services, life coaching, Job Connect. We in every single chamber of commerce around the state. So we have about 250, I think it's the last count, employee partners around. So we assist our members and their families find jobs. We do resume help. We have partnerships with technical colleges. So we provide any type of professional, personal enrichment. We have our rewards programs. We do free family memberships with the YMCA. After-school program at the Boys and Girls Club. We have a partnership with Fifth Third Bank, so any of our members and their families, we have access to a free bank account. So some of the things that we do, if anybody has any questions, y'all can log on to www.caresource.com/GA. Another thing that we're doing, I know Dr. Izzard was actually there in September. We're doing the African American Male Wellness Walk, which will be over at Morris Brown. So if anybody wants more information about that, or if you want to get a team of walkers together, get a passion team. Where am I looking? Where's the camera? I want to make sure I'm in the live. Okay, there we go. Make sure that y'all log on to www.aawellness.org. aawellness.org. Look to see y'all there. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Reginald. And isn't that wonderful to have a community connection again that's an African American male that is in leadership for a health-based organization? Let's give that a hand clap, you all. Oh my goodness. Woo, I just get blessed. But I want to close out you all by thanking our sponsors. So, of course, yes, thanking CareSource, but also the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. Their Culture and Linguistic Department helped to sponsor this symposium on today under the leadership of Miss Jill Mays. I also want to thank, of course, our donated beautiful facility here at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. Yes, indeed. So a special thank you. We partnered with the men's ministry today, and Elder Saylor is over that, so we thank him. And absolutely, we thank the presiding senior pastor of this house, Dr. Jamal Bryant. We really appreciate you for allowing us to have this symposium today. Just want to state again that this is the third annual African American, the third annual African American Male Wellness Symposium, now under my very own business, which is Shekinah Counseling. I'm grateful for that. The first 2 years I did it under organizations that I was in leadership with. So I am grateful for that start. But now we will be continuing to move on under Dr. Izzard's business. So I am grateful for that. My website, if you want to get in contact with me, is shekinahcts.com. You can also follow me on social media at Dr. LaCleisha Izzard. And lastly, I want to thank Mr. Brooks here for making sure that we get recorded and that we are on YouTube, because we want to make sure to share this. You all please share this symposium as a resource. We know we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I think we got, a part 1 and a part 2?
Part 1, part 2.
Okay, we got a part 1 and a part 2. So please make sure to share this on your social media today and in the months to come, because we need individuals to be able to get these resources and get this information. And yes, we did have one question that came in from the audience. I'm going to let Mr. Fields answer that. And our other presenters who are still here, Commissioner Mason, Bishop, David, come on up. Y'all come on up, because we're going to get a picture, and I want everybody to see you, and I want to give you a public thank you as well. While I'm doing that, let me thank my beautiful mother, Miss Lita Izzard, who has been tuning in from Greensboro, North Carolina. Woo! Hey, Mom. And of course, thanking all of my amazing African American male mentors again for investing in me. But we will continue this, you all, so you will see us again. And again, I want to give a public thank you to all of my presenters. Some of them had to leave, but I want to give a public thank you to all of you. Thank you for being a part of this team. Some of the new ones that has joined the board, you in now, you in the club now. And I will not.
I'm gonna get jumped in.
And we will not let you go. So do know that Dr. Izzard will find a way to make sure that you are included in this symposium. Come on up, Ms. Higgs, so you can take this picture of us before we get ready to close. And then we're going to allow Mr. Fields to answer the question that he needs to answer. Oh, put this on real quick. Thank you. All right. Mr. Fields, share with them what that question was that you received and your answer to it. We had a virtual question to come in, y'all, so I just wanted to make sure that we answered it.
Well, the question was about resources, things that you can get, especially this individual was talking about helping their family member. And so in this, I just want to talk about some trainings that's out there. One is adult, teen, and youth mental health first aid. Another one is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI, which Mr. David is a part of. Also, Mental Health of America of Georgia. Okay, and some trainings that you can get is QPR, or Question, Persuade, and Refer, or CALM, which is Counseling on Access to Lethal Means. Another one is Living Works, Applied Suicide Intervention Skill Training, or ASSIST. Okay, they can help you out with that. hey, get involved with some runs. Get involved with some walks. NUMMI got that. Do they not have the NUMMI walks? Yeah. See, it's there, but we don't know about it. So get involved that way. Volunteer with Mental Health of America of Georgia, NUMMI, and also listen to lived experience stories. They're going to help you. That's what I did today. That's what Mr. David did today. And we were able to share. So NUMMI is a great place for that in our own voice, because I do that. And also the Respect Institute of Georgia, storytelling. They'll help you. So you got all those things, plus that person that called in or asked, have you ever thought about your company's EAP? Mm-hmm. You get some free stuff, about 5, 6. So, hey, check that out, okay? So this is just to help you and to help us in this room. So keep on keeping on. Don't y'all cave in. Don't you quit. And don't you give up. You hear me? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Wendell Fields. But we're grateful. That question was directed specifically to him, so I wanted to make sure that he had the chance to answer that. You all, we have had a full and a wonderful day today. I am grateful. I am thankful for all of our amazing African-American male presenters, and we are just saying thank you to our virtual audience for joining us on today. Again, please share this, share it. And we are going to get ready to sign off now. But if you have any remaining questions, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to any of the African-American males who presented on today. And no, stay tuned, because we will be back again. Thank you all. Woo! And that's a wrap.
Great.